91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. That was The Messenger. That was by Donna Lewis, today's guest. And let me get her on air and let's get this show rolling. Donna, are you with me?
I am with you. And that was Burning Man, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
Sorry.
Or
yeah.
The Messenger. What did I do? Was that
The Messenger
is the next
that
one?
was that Burning Man was the single that has been out, but The Messenger was the first song we were going to play about my breast cancer diagnosis.
Journey. Okay, so I think I may have accidentally played Burning Man, but we're going to get through all the music. I'd like to just do a brief intro here, if I may.
Yes.
And say internationally acclaimed singer-songwriter Donna Lewis is best known for her global hit, I Love You Always Forever. The song was featured on her debut album, Now in a Minute. It became the first song to ever get 1 million spins on American radio and became the third best-selling tune in the history of Atlantic Records. The record was an international sensation, zooming up the charts all over the world. Donna now joins forces with renowned producer and composer David Lowe to unveil their long-awaited collaborative album, Wanderlust. And a warm welcome back to LocalMotion, Donna Lewis. It's been a minute since you've been here on the show with me, so it's really great to have you back.
Oh, it's lovely being here and talking to you, Rita, really.
Yeah. I've been excited about this show since we kind of booked it a few months ago. So there's so much to talk about and so much to catch up on. And geez, where does one start? I mean, quite honestly, I was just like looking at some of the YouTube videos for I Love You Always Forever, and I saw this video of you performing it live in Kuala Lumpur with, I don't know, 100,000 people in front of you? I don't know.
I know. There's been, a few amazing moments like that. And still to this day, it's so weird because it's the 30th anniversary of that record next year. And it still surprises me that, my gosh, people still love this song.
Yeah.
And, people have covered it and they've reworked it and remixes have been done. And I'm so thankful for all that. And but it is amazing after 30 years, it's still around.
It still has a really good shelf life, that's for sure. I just quickly, because you're Welsh, yes? And you started songwriting when you were in your teens, I think, yes? And you sent this song to Atlanta. Tell us how this whole song came about, because it's kind of a great story.
I know. It's really a book,
to
be honest, but we'll do a little short version. Yes, many years after the teen songwriting phase, I was trying to get a deal in England, and I was writing and recording, producing all my little demos myself, and so it is a long story, but I did come to Woodstock to visit some friends and played them my demos, and Robbie Dupree actually heard it first and said, I love this. I want to send it to my friends. And it eventually got in the hands of somebody at Atlantic. I don't know how I do know how that happened, but that, as I said, it's a book. It's like I have to write a memoir at some point.
I hope you do.
It went through a few different people, but Jen Stark at the time she was my A&R girl at Atlantic, but she had so many cassettes coming into her office to listen to, and she'd give a bunch of these to her friend who would go through them and make a mixtape for her. And she was running, I don't know whether she was in Central Park or wherever she was, but she was running, listening to this mixtape, and my song came on, and she just kept rewinding it and playing it over and over again, and took it to Jason Flom. And, Atlantic loved it. And it was one of those fairy tale moments. I think musicians that are struggling to get somewhere, it is a lovely moment, because after years of trying to get somewhere with my music, and I get a phone call from Atlantic.
Did
They
you think
wanted
this was
to.
like a spam call? This was way before spam, but did you think somebody was playing a joke on you when you got that call, or were you just like,
Well, it was interesting because Martin, my husband, was having a few different calls from different people, and one of the guys we know, and I said, I'm cutting this, even though I'm rambling, I'm cutting this kind of short, because it's so interesting, this whole story. We should do one show one time where we talk all about this. But
let's do it?
anyway,
Yeah.
so basically, yeah, John Mostyn, who was managing a band called the Fine Young Cannibals, rang Martin and said, I got these people from Atlantic Records wanting to know about Donna, and do you want me to give them your number? And he said it was Atlantic Records. So Martin said yes. And so eventually, I don't know whether it was Jen that got on the phone with Martin first or Jason Flom, but they had a conversation and said they'd like to fly us over to Atlantic and, to meet them. And it's so interesting, after many, many years of trying to get somewhere. I mean, it was so exciting. Of course, I'm being flown to meet the people at Atlantic Records.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's still, what's going to happen? I'm probably going to get a no. Do you know what I mean? And then Jason said, Doug Morris wants to meet you. He was head of Atlantic at the
Oh
time.
my.
And yes, and he wants you to play some songs at the piano. And so I go up to meet him. And before I sat at the piano, he said, so many people have played that piano, like Elton John and Tori Amos. I'm thinking,
Wow.
oh my gosh, hold it together. And so I played a few of my songs acoustically, including I Love You Always Forever. And he said, congratulations, I'd like to offer you a record deal.
Amazing.
So it was
Amazing.
one of those fairy tale moments. But then, you go and make the record, and then that was finished in 95, and then they didn't want to release till 96. And I had gone through, I worked with a producer first time round, and it didn't work out. Then I produced it with Kevin Killen, which did work out, but it went through many, many phases before it was actually being released. And we were thinking, let's just hope it does something, because by then we thought, well, I don't know, let's just see how it goes. But
Right.
I was lucky that I think radio embraced it. Really, radio made that song, because
Well, I mean, a million spins on American radio alone, just American radio. Hello. I mean, I think the video that I saw for it had something like 50 million views or something. So, yeah, amazing, Donna, amazing. And it couldn't have happened to somebody more wonderful. You put a lot of time and effort and work into getting this going, and it's just lovely that it still has the life that it does for you. So
it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now you are a Hudson Valley resident. You obviously had friends here. When did you officially come here to America to live here?
Well, when I got signed to Atlantic, I think when I was making the record, we were renting a place in the city, and then when the record started to go out to radio, we just decided to move upstate, to this beautiful area, the Catskills, and and it was interesting for me. I remember it feeling, this is a bit of a shock. It's so quiet up here compared to the city.
Yeah.
But when the record took off and we were traveling all over the world and promoting it, every time we came back to this area, even if it was just for like 1 day or 2 days, it really recharged my batteries. Mm-hmm. It really made me feel I was just so rested, and you know how beautiful it is here. I just it just made sense. So we then did the next record in Dublin in Ireland, and we were like coming back and forth. But it was when I got pregnant with Archie that we decided, let's make this home. And so he's now 22.
Lovely.
Believe it or not.
And yeah, I can't believe it. I remember the last time you were in studio here with Martin and Archie, and you were just starting to look at colleges. I believe he was in high school, and you were looking at colleges.
That's
And
right.
he is becoming quite the songwriter himself. And tell us what Archie's doing. He's written songs. He's scoring. What is he doing? He's amazing.
Well, it's interesting. He's more of the composer than me. I mean, I've written a couple of songs with him, which is great, amazing when he's not so busy. But he really is. I mean, most of the stuff he does, he scores for film. But you know, I think with this industry, as we all know it, you just have to have a few more strings to your bow. I'm glad that he's made sure he's good with Pro Tools and other avenues in the area, because if you don't get offered a screen scoring
Right.
job on a film, I mean, you're going to have to find
Right.
find something else to pay the bills.
Sure.
But so he is. Even though I say it myself, he is very talented, and he's different to me, and it's kind of nice when we do get to work together, which is wonderful. But he's doing his masters right now.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
so next year he'll be out in the world looking for work.
Yeah, yeah, and it's exciting. It's great, and I'm just so happy. Does he play an instrument also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, piano is his main thing,
Mm-hmm.
but and he also plays clarinet and sax,
Uh-huh.
tenor sax. But most of the time, all his work is done on his piano and his keyboards, because, as you know, it's all creating a soundscape for these films. So everything is written at the keyboard for him.
Yeah. Oh, you must be such a proud mama, and just I mean,
Yeah.
the talent is coming from the mother, that's for sure. With the composing,
Some
that's
things he gets from his father.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
but
100%. I didn't mean it like that, but with the
no,
composing
I was joking.
and all of the wonderful songs that you've composed and continue to compose. You know what else I love? Totally off subject. The track that you did, I think at David Barron's, the Kate Hill cover. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Kate Bush.
Kate
Yes,
Bush, Kate
we
Bush,
did.
Up the Hill or something, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
running up the hill,
Running up the hill. Yes.
running
Yes.
up that hill. Yeah, I love working with David because um, he's such a genius with everything. But he came up with the idea. He said, I think we should do a cover. So he said, just record a piano vocal of that Kate Bush song, sent it to him, and then he did this incredible string arrangement, took the piano out, put the strings in, and it's one of my favorite things
Oh,
I've ever done. And we've written a few other songs together, and that's always a joy to work with him.
yeah, absolutely. He truly is a musical genius. I've had him on the show so many times, and considering doing the month of January, where I have nothing but record producers on. So I
Right.
think I'm gonna reach out and do something like that for there. And now, I mean, you've also you're coming out now with David Lowe, who is renowned in his own field. He is a renowned producer and composer. Tell us how you connected with David Lowe.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story because David and I first met David when we were living in Birmingham, and he was, I think he did a lot of sound for the BBC and music, and Martin, my husband, hired him to do a track for one of their programs, because Martin at the time was working for a corporate production house
Mm-hmm.
making movies. And so I first met David way, way, way back, and we got on great, and we wrote a few things together in the days of cassettes, and I would do a little, he'd send me a track, and then I'd do some vocals on my Porter studio and then take it back to his studio. And that's how we started, and we've always kept in touch with each other. So we kept in touch with each other, and I think when after I Love You Always Forever, I got asked to write a commercial for Coca-Cola. And I remember I had like just a few days to actually do it. And I remember writing it on the plane from New York to London. And I hired David to actually do the track with me. So we got back in touch. He actually worked on my second record, Blue Planet, with me. And so while I Love You Always Forever was going, he had a bit of success with a track that he had done. But then his biggest claim to fame really was he wrote the BBC News music.
I love that.
Even though it's this short piece with the pips and everything. But he was, that really brought him to the forefront. And so we've always stayed in touch. And he came over in about 2017, I think, here to stay with me, and we had a week together, and we just thought we'd just write and record a bunch of songs. And so we had all these songs sat there, and then we both got very, very busy with different things. And then in the last 6 months, we were saying, why are we just keeping those songs on the shelf doing nothing?
Right.
Let's put them out. And so that's what we've done. The first one came out a month ago, Burning Man, and then the second single comes out Friday, Where Is the Love? And so we've got a whole album of songs that it's been fun. It's great.
Yeah.
We work well together.
And the album is called Wanderlust, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And listeners, we're talking with Donna Lewis here today. And I want to get into something which you have been very, very public about, Donna.
Yes, not to begin with, but yes, I became.
Yes. And I understand you completely. So
yes.
In 2020, we had COVID. And
yes.
Tell us what happened to you, because I think you were working on a release, right? A 25th album.
That's right. Yeah. It was the 25th anniversary of I Love You Always Forever. So we were planning, in fact, we had dates with an agent. We were going to do small theatre dates, in Australia and Europe and a few here. And so we were getting ready for that. And then I go for a mammogram. Oh, of course, I missed my mammogram
because of
during
COVID. Mm-hmm.
So I go for my mammogram in 2021, and boom, yes, you have breast cancer. And it was such a shock because I think, because I've always been fit and healthy.
Yep.
And, the 2 years before COVID, I went for my mammogram, and there was a couple of little calcifications there, and the radiologist said, listen, come back in 6 months or you should have a biopsy. And I thought, I'm just going to come back in 6 months. And I went back in 6 months, and I'm just going to close my computer. There's something was going on. I went back in 6 months, and it had all gone. And it was a different radiologist. And they definitely missed a little something. And, of course, then COVID happened. I missed a year of going for my mammogram, and then I go back, and it was the same radiologist the first time round. And with mammograms, you have to keep, he wants you to do a more in-depth one. We did that, and then they come out and say, yeah, you need to have a biopsy. And I was going, really? I was in total denial, and he said, come and have a look. And it was crazy. Instead of 3 calcifications, it was just loads, hundreds.
Wow.
And so that was the start.
Does this run in your family? Is this genetic for you?
My mum had breast cancer, but she is a survivor. She's 92 now.
Wow. Yep.
Still lives in her own home. And so but there wasn't any. I mean, I had all the genetic testing. There wasn't anything there, but
Right.
I feel with breast cancer, I don't know, sometimes just because you don't have any in the family, I think people are seeing it differently now. I mean, we just have to be really aware
Yeah.
of checking ourselves. Meanwhile, I could not feel a lump in my breast.
Right.
So I didn't even know.
Right. If it wasn't for that mammogram, you would not have detected the breast cancer.
No,
Right. Right. And you
no.
skipped that year. So October is
Yes.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I don't ever get personal on radio. Um, exactly 1 year ago, I was detected and I was diagnosed with breast cancer also. And you know my journey. But I've kept it really quiet on the radio. And I'm coming out today because it is so important for women not to skip mammograms. And no matter how busy life gets, don't skip this. Don't do it because it is so important. And that's why I'm going public. If there's somebody out there right now listening who's been putting off that mammogram, oh, it hurts too much, or I'm so busy, I don't have the time to do it. Stop what you're doing and make the appointment.
You're so right. And I was like you in the very beginning when I knew what was going on and then planning my treatment because, as you know, mine was a year-long treatment, and I didn't want to be public about it because I was scared. I didn't know how I was going to be, how
Right.
I was going to feel, how was I going to be really sick. I didn't want it. But then when it was at a time when I started to, I was past the surgery and the chemo, and then I was just doing some radiation. I thought, now is the time to share because, as you say, you can help other women make sure that they get checked regularly. I was told by my oncologist, if I had have done that biopsy the very first time when he saw those calcifications, I probably would have just had to take a pill, an estrogen pill, and that would have been the end of it.
Hindsight sucks like that, doesn't it?
I
It
know. I
really
know.
you can bang your head across the wall 1,000 times. I will quickly share my story. I had a
Yes.
mammogram in July of 2024 that came back clean. I ended
Right.
up 2 weeks later with a bacterial infection in my back, which caused me to be in the hospital for 5 days because I needed IV antibiotics. I
Right.
had been at risk for breast cancer because my mother and grandmother had it. So I was seeing a breast surgeon every 6 months anyway. And
Right.
because I maxed out my out of pocket insurance, I saw my breast surgeon in September. And I said,
Right.
let's get a MRI. She says, you just had a mammogram. We don't need. I was like, let's just do it because money's no object at this point. I had
Yes.
that MRI, and they found not one but two spots of cancer on my breast that an MRI missed. And I was
That the mammogram
missed.
missed.
And this was 10 weeks after my mammogram was clear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Well,
I always say just like if you're able to get more than a mammogram, do it. Whether you
yes.
can do an MRI, which is the gold star, or whether you can just do an ultrasound in addition to it, if there's even anything that's questionable, because I feel like a lot of it you have to advocate for yourself. And I think you would probably agree with that at this point of
Yes.
of where we are. If you're not comfortable with someone saying, don't worry, worry and just get it done. And I, like you, it took me getting through surgery and through chemo, and in the middle of radiation is when I became public with it because people
Yes.
saw me. I also chose not to wear a wig. I had one. I had a
Right.
hairpiece. I had hats. I had everything. And then I just decided not to, because this is raw and this is where I am in the moment, and I didn't want to hide behind anything. And that was me, because our
Yes.
journeys are all individual and very different. And
Yes.
so that is just a hair of what happened to me. And I remember when you first went public on social media, because I follow you, and when I
Yeah.
got detected, you were one of the only local people I knew that was public about it. And I remember just emailing you. That's all. Just like
Yes.
sending you a note, like, I hope you're doing well, and I just got this, and and here
Yes.
we are now, a year later for me, several years later for you. We are both survivors. And again, I'm doing this and I'm open. I'm so glad you're open to talking about this, because, again, Donna, if someone's listening, if a woman's listening, or a man, and you've got women in your life, get them to get tested, right? I mean,
I know.
if there's one point that we can go across with today, in about 45 minutes, my breast surgeon's going to be calling in, and we're going to talk about tests, and we're going to talk about what happens and how you feel when you get that diagnosis of cancer, and what happens
Yeah.
after, right? Because now we're survivors,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right, right.
It's a scary thing getting that diagnosis, and I think it's the word cancer is
Mm.
just so terrifying. And I feel like you need other women's stories to get you through it,
Mm-hmm.
because I remember, talking to the people that had gone through the same journey, and they helped me so much, because I remember one of them saying to me, listen, you just have to get the plan, you just have to make your plan, know where you're going, your hospital, your doctors. Once you're on your plan, you will feel so much better. And I think that was the hardest thing, you'll probably agree,
Yes.
was figuring out, what do I do next,
Absolutely, absolutely. I was lucky a little bit, because I already had a breast surgeon I was seeing, just because I was at
Yes.
high risk. So, like, I had that part, and I let her guide me as to oncology and radiation and all of that. And I
Yes.
have to tell you, I'm still going through treatment. I'm going through targeted immuno treatment.
I did that too.
Yeah, mine is a HER2 positive cancer, one of them. And
Same.
oh, okay. And we both know
Me too.
it's a bitch of a cancer. It's
Yes.
it's aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And I still have 3 more treatments. Tomorrow's one of them. I'll be sitting in the oncology unit, and I will be getting my infusion into my port, and I will be there with people that I feel so comfortable with, right? Because we become in our own bubble, and we come from all different walks
Yes.
of life in that oncology unit. And those nurses, I mean, we are in a bubble when we are in
Yes.
that world, and nobody can understand it unless you've been there.
No, it's true. And that's why I ended up writing about it. And that was I think, going through my treatment, I think you'll agree, sometimes cancer can take over your life, because I feel it's like a job, researching and understanding, and the treatments and the appointments. And so for me, my music was my therapy, and I ended up writing about all that, the nurses, the radiation, the various rooms I was in, because those people that are treating us, they are incredible. And I think anybody going through cancer, when you have, those nurses are like angels.
Yes, yes, yes. 100%. And what they see and what I've seen over the past 12 months, I started my chemo last December. And, you go in there bright eyed and like, oh my gosh, not to expect. And now I'm an old timer, and you always,
I know.
every time I go in, it's like there's somebody there for the first time. And now I go up to them and say, it's going to be okay. Because
Yes.
you need someone to tell you that, right?
You have to. And those women that are on the phone with you and just say, you're going to get through this, you're going to be okay. And just to give you those little pieces of advice along the way, you know, because we're all so different. I remember having terrible mouth sores on my fifth treatment of my chemo, where I could hardly speak. And and then somebody will tell you this is what you need to do, and it's just so helpful to have those other women in your life, during that
Right.
whole time.
Yeah. And I was, and I'll talk to Lisa about it when she calls in. Like, I honestly thought breast cancer was breast cancer. I had no idea there was such an array of different types of cancer.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I personally had two different types of cancer, so it was just like, what? Didn't even know something
Yes.
like that could exist. But
Yes.
I think that those of us that have gone through any sort of cancer treatment, it I don't know, it's made me really strong. It's made me say, wow, I'm a lot stronger than I thought I even was. And
Yes.
right? I mean, do you feel that
It's
way?
true. I remember. Yeah. I feel exactly the same. I was terrified before I started my treatment because it's the fear of the unknown, isn't it? It's we've never gone through this before. We're having IVs. I didn't have a port. I did. Fortunately, my veins were good, and I did IVs in the arm. And eventually, I was able. After my surgery, I was able to have the injection in my thigh for my other drugs
Hmm.
for the rest of the year. But it's you do become strong and brave, and I talk about this in my song The Imposter. I'm thanking myself for being brave and strong, and I feel like I got a little bit braver, a little bit stronger along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, you certainly did. And I have no doubt that you have no idea how many women you have helped. And maybe people have reached out, or maybe some never will. But by your songs and you putting yourself out there as a public figure, just know that you have helped countless people um, get a test, or tell someone
Yes.
to get a test. And that, I think, as a survivor, is the greatest gift we can give to other people.
It's true because as we know, we're all so different. Some women feel the lump in their breast, and then they know that there's something wrong. I could not feel anything, so I had to rely on going for my mammograms, and then like you have a clean mammogram, but they found it in the MRI. And this is the thing with these different types of breast cancer. Some don't show up,
Right,
clearly
right.
on these different tests. And so it's a tricky one but it's good for women to be aware. We have to just every year go for those tests. And I think it's important that they do the ultrasound as well as the mammogram, because things
Absolutely.
show up
Yeah,
more on the
absolutely.
ultrasound
And
than the mammogram at times.
especially if you're at a high risk of breast cancer, ask. Like, I was before my cancer, I was getting tests every 6 months. I'd get a mammogram in the summer and then an ultrasound in the winter, right? Just like every 6 months,
Right.
somebody was looking at something, right? And then,
Yes.
yeah, and it's so funny. Here I am thanking whatever that bacterial infection was in my back in
Yes.
August, because had it not been for that, I wouldn't have had a test for a long time, and I would have
I
at that
know.
point probably been stage 4, because
Yes.
of the HER2 being so aggressive. So
Exactly.
it is just with gratitude that I talk with you here today, very publicly. I've not done this. I feel like you're sitting next to me and you're holding my hand and saying it's okay. So thanks for doing this
Yeah.
with me. I could never do it alone. So thank you,
So
Donna.
true.
Thank
So
you.
true.
Yeah, we just need each other, us survivors that do this, and look at the music that has come out of it for you and continues to come out of it for you. You're now several years through this battle, correct? Or this journey, whatever it
Yeah,
is
so I
we're
was
on.
diagnosed in 21, and then all my treatment was 20 and 22. So yeah, so now we're at 2025, which is great.
Yes.
But yeah, it's interesting how I'm very proud of that record, Rooms with the View, because as I say there are 10 songs of and I think anybody going through it will relate to each one of them because you've been there with me,
Right.
The Messenger, is just all about that first diagnosis. And, cancer is the uninvited messenger, the uninvited thing that comes into your life, and we just want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I'm glad I eventually, it wasn't my intention to write about it, but I'm glad I did now, because I do feel I would have liked to have been able to listen to something like that while I was going through my treatment, because it would have given me a little bit more of a, well, it just adds along with your friends and people that have gone through it. It's nice to have that
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Music was a big healer for me. I put this show on a hiatus for 6 months. And I
Yeah.
remember just in the evenings, just listening to music, although missing my live music. Anyone that knows me knows I'm all about going to see live music, but not able to
Mm.
because I was so immunocompromised. So therefore, listening to the music, and it was a huge help, absolutely huge help. I just can't imagine my recovery without it. And
Yes.
and now
Because
with
as you say, I was just going to say, as you say, people forget too, we're immune compromised, so we can't go out and do those things.
right.
We have to really look after ourselves. I remember my oncologist said, if you get COVID, you will not be able to come in for your treatment for 2 weeks or so. That was back then.
Yeah.
And, nobody wanted to mess with that. So anyway, I know I interrupted them, but
No, but
I forgot about that,
yeah.
we were a little bit sort of tied to sort of stay in our own little bubble.
Yeah. And for me, it was going through it in the wintertime, and the
Yes,
darkness of the
me too.
winter just made it even just that much darker for me. For me, and
Yes.
it's just yeah, and then when spring finally came, and chemo ended, and slowly the hair comes back, and you're out there a little bit more, and it's just like life comes back to you, but for me in a different way, with a different appreciation, and a lot more mindfulness, and a lot
Yes.
more taking deeper breaths.
And I really wish, I know some women are okay, you do lose your hair, but I wish there was, especially in our area, the hospitals had the Paxman cooling cap
Mm-hmm.
machines there, because I did that. I went to Sloan Kettering for my treatment in Westchester,
Mm-hmm.
and I did shed some hair, but I kept my hair, and
Mm-hmm.
so for me, that helped enormously. And I'm not saying, um, as you say, you lost your hair and you were fine about it, and you didn't even wear a wig, and that's fantastic.
Right.
But I wish women had a little bit more, everything is so expensive, and then hospitals don't have this particular machine.
Well, what
And
just happened is in New York State, I believe starting next year, it is mandated for insurance companies to cover that cooling cap. And
that's
that's
fantastic.
because it's thousands of dollars, and in
It's thousands.
thousands. And then people that already are having a hard time with medical bills can't deal with that on top of it, right? So now it is
No.
mandated by companies in New York State to cover that. So anyone that
Well,
gets
also
diagnosed, will have
yeah, and
that.
also the Paxman Cat method. The one great thing, let's just say, it's not the nicest thing to have your head freezing for hours on end, but it does work. And, you know, the hospitals that don't carry that machine, there are other various cooling cap methods to use, but they are like so stressful, where people have to put the ice on their head and then have it wrapped every 20 minutes.
Yes.
And it's extremely stressful. And I know people that just gave up on that after the first go.
I looked into it, and it was just so, like, in the middle of all these appointments and getting everything together, I couldn't deal with all the complications that added to it. You have to get a cooler, it has to have dry ice, it has to be this, it has to be that, and I was just, and then whoever's bringing you had to be trained on it, and I was just like, okay, I'm done, I'm not going to do it. And you know, that's the other thing with breast cancer, is that sometimes we physically change, our appearance changes, so it's kind of hard to hide behind the fact that one has cancer, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, for me, with that cooling cap, let's just say it's not the easiest thing to do, but to go into your room and put your cap on, and then you sit in the chair before they start doing the IVs and everything, and then they plug you into a machine and it's done. You don't have to think about it.
Right.
So for women to have that, if they want to have that, it should be for everybody.
It should be for everybody.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%. I was happy to hear that very recently, like within the last week or two, that insurance now needs to cover cooling caps. So I think that'll help some people that will be newly diagnosed.
Yes.
So
yes.
for sure,
Let's
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for being so open and talking about your journey with breast cancer. And I'm so glad it's several years behind you now, and you can call yourself a survivor, and look forwards, you know, and be there for those that if they have questions or are just newly diagnosed and just are looking for music, and, you know, they know that you're having beautiful music out there, that you understand them. You understand them in a way that most people won't unless you've had this.
Because, as you know, it really is kind of like a year out of your life. I mean, it is, by the time you get diagnosed and you do the chemo, then it's the surgery. That is a thing in itself, is what are you going to do?
Right.
And all the different options you have. And then it's the radiation, and then it's the other injections. It really is, can't believe it, but it is like a year.
It is a year.
Of treatment.
It is. I mean, I was diagnosed a year ago. Like I said, I'm still in treatment. While it is not chemotherapy, it is targeted therapy, and I sit in an oncology unit, so I am still there. And it's, you know, it'll be exactly a year by the time I finish that. And then I don't know about you, but I have to take pills every day. And
me too.
They're not fun. They're not fun. At least I just started.
They're not fun.
No,
yes.
I started taking letrozole 2 months ago, and you know, it kind of chemically changes and alters you a little bit, and your body has to acclaim to that. I've never been on a prescription drug in my entire life, and to all of a sudden,
me too. Yeah.
You know, have to deal with this, and it's just something else. But it cuts down your chances by, you know, many percentages, and it's worth a try for me, right?
Exactly, and that's because our cancer loves estrogen to sort of do its thing, and so we have to block that. So, and it is, I'm just like you, never a prescription drug in my life, apart from if I had to have antibiotics for something.
Sure.
But, and the thought of, what you mean, I have to take this drug every day now for the next 10 years.
10 years,
okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, but it's acceptance. And for me, I have to say, in the middle of my radiation, my arm, I have this small lymphedema. So that was my other thing I had to deal with, that I have a mild lymphedema in my arm, and so I have to wear a compression stocking every day. And I remember coming away from the lymphedema therapist and saying, "What you mean I have to wear this every day?" And they're going, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And you know what, it was just like another thing, but it is interesting when you go through it, because there's only other way. There's only one way, and that's up. And you go through it,
Right.
and this is what my life is like now, and it's not bad at all. I can still walk and enjoy life, and I just have a stocking on my arm and have to take a pill every day. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Gratitude goes such a long way. I mean, it could be, not everybody lives through this diagnosis. And,
true.
we are lucky to be able to talk about it and be able to share our experiences with it, and just know we are on the other side of it. And, we're still there. We don't ever forget it. Every day when I swallow that pill, I'm like, oh, yeah, cancer, here we are.
Yes,
It's something that one doesn't ever forget. But I learned to have accepted it and live
yes,
with it and come from a place of gratitude. Because if you're feeling down, and if you just put stuff into like the bowl of gratitude and just pick out those things you're grateful for, it'll make up for anything that you're feeling bad about. It really will, because the gratitude
it
bucket
does.
is going to be more full than the other bucket. It really will be.
I think anybody that's gone through something similar to this, and maybe it's not cancer, it's some other kind of thing, it changes you
Of course.
definitely, and you come out and you do feel blessed, and you are very thankful for what
Hmm.
you have,
Yeah.
and that we're still here,
Hmm.
and
And that
yeah,
we got
we're
detected.
lucky.
Donna. Had you waited another year, your situation would have been very different. Had I waited another 6 or 12 months to get my test, our situations would be very different than what they are right now.
True. Yes.
Right? So,
Yeah. And thankfully, that's why, you know, they've come a long way with breast cancer. When you think, for us, HER2 positive and aggressive breast cancer, and thankfully with these targeted drugs that actually, do work, it's incredible, really. I mean, I don't know, 10 years ago, that probably, I don't know how long those targeted drugs have been around, but 10 years ago, I think they were just starting
they were
that.
just starting.
I
Yeah.
could be wrong there, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
I think so too. I'm going to find that out in a little bit when my doctor actually calls in, and be able to ask
yes,
the medical questions, and just
yeah,
again just really get it out there to women. This is October. It's the middle of October. You'll see pink everywhere. I walk into my post office in Hyde Park today, and everything is balloons and everything breast cancer awareness.
yes,
It's in the Poughkeepsie post office. It's everywhere. You see it. There was an event at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds a week ago, and just to get people again, early detection is so important. So important. It saves your
yes,
life, and that's no joke. It really does save your life.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So
So all those women out there, yes, don't put these things off any longer.
no,
Just
no.
go
We
and make your
we
appointment.
all take care of everybody else. It's time to take care of you. When it comes to a simple test that takes maybe 10 minutes, make the
Yes,
appointment and just do it. If you're behind in it, do it. Make the appointment. If anything, and Donna and I being so open on these airwaves today, if that is just the one point I can get across to anyone, please don't put off your tests, and get your mammograms, get your ultrasounds, whatever, but just get tested. And that's true with any cancer, quite honestly. Your colonoscopies,
yes,
anything that's preventative. For men, get your PSA, get your exams. I mean, really, it's
yes,
we have this at our disposal,
yeah, yeah,
right? So, yeah.
yes.
Donna, I'm going to play some of your music to finish out this hour. I cannot wait to see you, and
Yes,
give you a genuinely big and deep and long hug. And I'm so proud of you and your journey, and the grace in which you've walked the past few years. And I am in awe of watching you the past several years. And thank you for sharing your journey and for writing such beautiful music to share with the world. So you have such a platform, and for you to be able to be public about that, I just honor you for that. So thank you.
Well, and thank you too. And the same, you're gonna be fine, and you're just gonna do what you need to do. And yes,
And
I'm so glad you're doing well.
One foot in front of the other. I'm going to play Rooms with a View. This was
Right.
written by your son.
He had this musical idea for it, and it was in the middle of my treatment, and it was after my surgery, going into radiation, and it's kind of like this song lyrically that I wrote. It just encapsulates that anxiety and fear of the first start of the treatment to the final day of treatment. And also it's like a little tribute to those loved ones that are with you on that journey, because there's always somebody, hopefully with many women. I'm sure some women have to go through this alone, but just to have somebody with you, your husband or your friend, just there, it's hard for them watching us go through that.
Absolutely.
So Rooms with a View is really about that.
Well, we're going to take a listen. I honor you. I thank you. And I will certainly be in touch. And I thank you for sharing your time here with us today, Donna Lewis. And let's take a listen right now to Rooms with a View. And thanks again, Donna. I'll see you soon.
Awesome.
All
yes.
Right. All right. You take care. Be well.
And you too.
Thanks. Bye. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Donna Lewis, Rooms with a View.
It's a long way to go. You carry my bag down the corridor. I don't know where I am today when anxiety steps into play. Will I be okay? I hear my name as I walk around. I want Eileen with the gentle hands. Warm me up so there is no pain, till I feel the ice kiss my brain. I'll be okay. You set off, holding space for us all. You can get lost inside this room. It's just a room with a view for me and you. It's a long way to go. Tell me a story, one I don't know.